Good afternoon, everyone. Um, Today I'm going to talk about how we at NCore have been looking at Web 3.0. We have been traditionally a Web 2.0 company for quite some time, and in our career we have worked on a lot of Web 2.0 games. Traditionally, the free and premium games, and then the free-to-play games, and now we are looking at Web 3.0. Um, I would like to take you through what our experience has been and uh, how we want to develop an ecosystem with which we will be in a position to help aspiring other gaming companies as well. To present this, I want to invite my colleague Tejraj, who is the CEO of another group company of NCore called iSpice. So together we'll be presenting to you our journey so far. Um, as I said, we have been working on Web 2.0 games. We had our shot at fame by launching 4G game back in January last year. Game that really garnered more than 10 million downloads when we launched the game in its campaign mode. And similarly, we have a few other games that we are developing as a group company. Our vision has been to create games that are, localized, the Indian audience can relate to, and keeping the consumer at the heart of everything that we do. This has been the team. My colleague Vishal, who's the co-founder, has had a successful stint in Indian gaming industry, having built and sold his previous company, India Games. Uh, we have visionaries like Amit, who's an ex-Google fellow, uh, and I head one of the studios under our global company NCore called Studio NCore. Tejraj is the CEO of iSpice, which is actually developing the platform for our Web3 initiatives. And we also have another company called Dot9, which is developing games based out of Mumbai. And we have another gentleman, Agastya, who is the chief of staff. We were fortunate to get started and go through our journey for the first couple of years more on a bootstrap mode and with the support of some angel investors that we had. And eventually, just a few months ago, we raised our Series A, and we found support from some key players in the market like Animoca Brands. By now, you may be familiar with the name, and they're the ones who are taken with a lot of respect in the Web3 world. People behind Axie Infinity, Sandbox, and a few more recently successful games. We are fortunate to have their support. Galaxy Interactive is another company in the US who focus only on the gaming companies, and they have invested in a complete ecosystem wherein there are studios, companies that develop tools and similar such technologies. We're also backed by Polygon, who are the company who are making news proudly from India. So we were fortunate to get their support as well as one of the investors. This is something that we are building. NCore is just not one studio, as I said. We are building an entire ecosystem which comprises of studios, platform company. We have an esports company as well. And we are also building a company that focuses on the guild mechanism. So the platform layer is built by iSpice that Tejraj heads. Is going to talk a little more about it. This is the blockchain-enabled platform where there's going to be an NFT marketplace. It will blend e-commerce and have user growth that will be driven through the offerings within the iSpice platform. And on the development side, Studio NCore is developing two key games. One is Fauji, as you know, we currently have the multiplayer version. We're also developing a cricket game and have big ambitions to convert that into a kind of a cricket metaverse as we go forward. Uh, Besides that, there is another studio that I mentioned, Dot9, which is developing casual games, and together we want to, offer Web3 technology, or we want to bring in Web3 technology through these in-house titles first, and then take it to the partner games as well. So there's an esports layer where we have a company with people who are experienced in the esports segment. Going to be part of the NCore group of companies and the guild that I mentioned. I'll invite my colleague Tejraj to give a few more details, and together we'll explain what we have been doing and take more questions as we go forward.
Uh, Thank you, Daya. Good afternoon, everybody. So a little bit about our approach again. The idea is not to build games in isolation. A lot of investors, probably here and outside also, have investments in different gaming studios or entities that handle various aspects of gaming. Our idea is that they should all be talking to each other and benefiting from, for example, assets created in one game, can they be used, reused in another game? It's not necessarily reskinning, but something that can be useful outside also. And can there be a NFT or a blockchain enabled marketplace for something like that? One of the ideas. So that's how we look at synergies. Of course, people have to work together also, not only formally on paper. So a little bit about our iSpice platform, which houses also our Web3 initiatives. Some of the solutions that we're going to talk about are already developed. For example, today, in a game that has integrated iSpice, it's about 15-20 days from launch now. You can play a game based on what the developer wants. Certain activities will be rewarded with what is called as a Spice Gold. We don't call it token yet. It's not a crypto token yet, but we're very short distance from converting that to a crypto token. It's all in India, and currently this Spice Gold currency, the virtual currency, helps you to get discounts on a physical merchandise store in lieu of whatever efforts you've made in the store. So for practical purposes, it's already a token that generates a value, and there's an e-commerce backend that we've built. There's a store that we've built where you can go and buy stuff like maybe a gaming merchandise, like a t-shirt or maybe some electronics. So that's already there. Now the same token will eventually convert into a crypto token. That's where we're going right now. If we can go to the next slide there. Yeah. So we just wanted to put it out there, how we see Web 2 and Web 3. So we see blockchain as an enabling technology, right? It's like electricity. Electricity was probably invented with the sole purpose of creating lighting, but it is what you would call as a recombinant innovation. It's a term used by a guy called Eric Brynolfsson. He wrote a book called The Second Machine Age. So the first machine age was 1910s and 20s when industrial revolution happened. Now is the computer and AI machine age, so which is called as the second machine age. Okay, so electricity was that defining technology for probably the first industrial age. We believe blockchain is that same technology right now. It can be combined and recombined with 20 other things to create new products and services. So if you're a legal, you'll probably want to protect your contracts and see the changes and track all of that, or a property magnet through a blockchain, right? If you're a game developer, maybe you're interested in NFTs. Maybe you're a bank, you want to, create a block of, put the transactions on the blockchain so that you can track all of that and check out what is genuine, what's not genuine, the history gets protected, etc. So blockchain is like electricity in the current age. Okay, so basically there are some key differences between what was possible without blockchain in Web 2.0. So for example, you never got real asset ownership in Web 2.0. If you ever bought a Kindle book, a digital book, could you ever sell it to the next guy? Whereas if you buy a second-hand book also, you could go and sell it out, right? You could lend it to a library and you could probably make money there also. A library could lend the books. But that was not possible. Today, if you own an NFT, one of the key purposes of an NFT is that you actually own it and you can sell it forward. We are even talking about for a very expensive in-game NFT that is functional, say a gun or something, you can lend it also, right? So that is the true definition of ownership, which was not possible in Web 2.0. Right now, with Web 3.0, it is possible. Like I mentioned earlier, trust, checking antecedents of a product, a digital product or a physical product is possible. Everybody has the same information without hurting your privacy, right? The address that owns a certain asset is still a web address. It doesn't say my name or his name. But you know that the asset has genuine ownership. It is listed there on the blockchain, so it is there. Um, Users never participated in the creative process. We'll talk about this later. This is called prosumerism. The lines between a consumer and a producer are blurred. So here, if you're playing a game, let's say you're playing an MMORPG and you level up a character, you never own that character, right? But today, if it is minted as an NFT and you level up the character or any in-game item for that matter, you are actually participating in the creative process and you're generating value out of that. So that's the key difference. Then there are multiple business models that were not possible. For example, you could not at least officially share an in-game asset earlier in a classic Web 2.0 or 1.0 game. Now with Web 3, that has become possible. Partial ownership, timeshare, all these things have become possible. However, between Web 2 and 3, it's not a discontinuation. It's a progressive continuation of, of all of these concepts. So 2 and 3 cannot be disconnected. Most of our gamers in India today are playing 2.0 games. Okay. Our belief is that rather than creating only native to only Web 3.0 games, we should bring these gamers into the Web 3.0 world by creating and managing tools that help them participate in the 3.0 economy. So for example, continuation of all of your business practice. For example, your IAP in a Web 2.0 game should continue, right? Why should you let go of your in-app purchase or advertising revenues? So Web 2.3, 2 to 3 will allow you to create those either bridges or continuing as they are. And there could be some combinations of 2.0 and 3.0 also. For example, an asset in a game, I'm sure all of the developers here are mainly banking on either advertising or they're banking on in-app purchases. What if an in-app purchase that you made of a certain in-game asset, it may be a cricket stadium tomorrow, okay, that you bought, and that's an in-app purchase, so you can't sell it forward. How about converting that by taking some more, some more revenue from the user, or making him make an effort and converting that to a Web 3.2 asset, where then he can start lending the stadium so that people can play games in that stadium. There could be features inside that stadium that are not available in any other stadiums. So that's the idea that we have behind our approach to what Web3 should look like. Just go to the next slide.
Yeah. Before we go to the next slide, the reason we call this as Web 2.5 is because, given the pace at which the technology is improving and studios are eager to take their games to the consumers, is it really possible to use your existing solid Web 2.0 game and add the NFT elements and others to give it a flavor so that one can experience blockchain in the Web 2.0 games? That's what we are going to be experimenting, and the platform that we are building is going to facilitate that, where studios can actually convert their existing Web 2.0 games in a way into Web 3.0. But this is going to be a kind of a hop-off point. But possibly you will see emergence of native Web 3.0 games coming up. But this is a time where one can really try to convert their existing Web 2.0 games into the blockchain-enabled ones.
So while we do all of this, we need to realize that there will be quite a few challenges, especially because most of our users on 2.0, today even creating a wallet for a user has been a challenge. There are solutions here, I think Web3 auth, etc., that are trying to solve these problems, and all of this has to come together. But again, it's very fragmented and modular. So what are the challenges? One is user education. For those users who are already used to playing games and buying or owning or unlocking assets in a certain way, who's going to go to them and tell them how to do this so that they participate in the process and they end up owning and benefiting from the in-game assets that they would have either created or bought? That's one challenge. So there are challenges related to how to play these games and how to unlock assets, etc. I think that's a smaller challenge, but the bigger challenge is with how to protect their assets. For example, if you mint an NFT or if you have a set of game tokens, uh, how do you make sure that it's hack proof? It's not only a game developer's responsibility, right? It's also the responsibility of platform that are at the back of it and of the users themselves. It's like you protect your bank account. So these are going to be some of the challenges. The other challenge is fragmentation. Today there are too many blockchains, especially layer 2 solutions are too many. So how does a developer choose what is the right solution for himself and his users? So if you go to a layer 2 chain, it is not supposed to be as secure as the layer 1 chain. But if your assets are not going to be sold that expensive, let's say something is worth only 5,000, would you want to pay a $500 minting fee just to create that asset? It will kill the proposition for the user. So that fragmentation, and eventually if different developers end up choosing different blockchains to mint their assets, maybe on a single platform or multiple platforms, how do you bridge those assets? So those are the solutions being developed already, but that's also one of the challenges. The other challenge, as I said, is interoperability between blockchains. If you mint an asset on one blockchain, you want to port it to the other one, there is nothing right now. People have been saying that we're building bridges between the two, but the moment you build a bridge, the transaction history on the previous blockchain gets lost. It's not accessible to the next blockchain. Should you want it for some or the other purpose, maybe regulatory purpose, taxation, etc., or history that the user wants to trace, as of now you have to build a web 2.0 solution and a bridge between the two. So that's the other. And the last one, I'm sure everybody's heard enough and more about this, the regulation and tax regime in the country. You cannot probably issue a token asset in this country even now, and that's going to take some clarity. So people are hosting assets outside of India, etc. So that's the challenges in the ecosystem while going from 2.0 to 3.0. We just thought we should just brush up upon them so that if anybody is kind of unfamiliar with this, it can be used, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, as it stands now, government is taxing the income that comes from your blockchain activities at 30%, whereas if you have incurred losses, then you can't really leverage that at all. But we believe for something like this to thrive, income should be treated like any other income. It should be taxed at the regular slabs and all that. But we only think that the government is going to take a path where it is going to be encouraging to the overall industry. But right now, I think with more time needed for them to study, they have gone in for something that is easy to apply and try to slow down the rate at which it was being adopted. But we think there will be a more user-friendly regulation tax policy that will be coming in the future days.
I think we've had probably before us also a lot of people talking about the opportunities. We'll just brush upon them. Um, so users have the ability to turn themselves from people who solely pay for something, either with their time, advertising monetization, or with their wallets, to pro-creators in the process, in the sense that if you're leveling up an asset or if you're minting an asset that you can sell forward or use for yourself to generate more in-game tokens, currencies, etc., that makes a user from a mere one-way street at the end of the street user into a user that actually participates in the creation process of the asset itself. Um, I'm sure we've heard all about uh, play and earn. I don't call it play to earn. I have deliberately avoided that word. It should be play and earn, because the purpose of playing any game should not be to make money, but to basically entertain oneself. If you go to watch a movie, you go there to entertain yourself. You don't go there to make money where you're paying. Here the point is you play, and if there is an earning, it's fine, but the primary purpose of entertainment, at least at our end at NCore, that we are creating, is entertainment. You should enjoy yourself. You should feel gratified at the end of the day when the game is done. And in that, if you end up generating an asset, spending a little more time than the other guy can, and if that the other fellow at the other end who's willing to buy that asset or rent it from you is willing to pay you something for it, then that's play and earn. It's not play to earn. That should not be the sole purpose of creating gaming content. Uh, the other thing is there are opportunities. I'm sure you are all aware for non-gamers and investors also. That's how an Axie Infinity has been built. The whole uh, uh, gamers guild system, right? What does that do? Uh, Assets inside the game have become too expensive, so the players who want to play and maybe focus on earning or entertainment can't afford to get into the game. It's $1,500 just to get into Axie Infinity. At least that's what I heard
Yeah.
last time. Okay, not everybody has $1,500. That's not even the average monthly income for some countries, right? So uh, guilds buy these assets, lend them to the gamer, and then the gamer plays, uses those assets to generate more assets. Part of the gains the gamers take away, and the rest of it is the ROI for investors, as usually the case would be. So these are the three basic differences in terms of opportunities for gamers and game developers. Our implementation as of now is this is about a month and a half away. We've built probably half of this already in terms of the platform. Right now we're using Polygon. We're looking at earned NFTs that you earn by playing the game, and you unlock these NFTs. Of course, you can sell them or lend them later on to other gamers. Okay. Um, NFT sales are going to be done mostly via auctions. So if an asset has a certain value, we'll declare what that asset, let's say a gun inside a game, or maybe a player character inside a cricket game. These are the things that we're going to declare, pre-declare, saying what is the features, etc., of this, and then gamers can decide how valuable that thing is for them, so that they can bid for it. And through the bidding, the real price of the asset will come. The gamer will buy it. Of course, there is a resale peer-to-peer transaction also that is possible after that. So if you own an asset, you can sell it to another gamer. Of course, the thing is here, the game developer and the platform that is providing the services will both also take a cut every transaction. But the cut is going to be implemented only on the incremental gains that the previous owner gains, not on the entire transaction. So that's how we are hoping to enable the entire marketplace. And of course, NFT lending. If an NFT asset is too valuable, or I want to try before I buy, then that asset is allowed to be lent from a gamer or a game developer to the other user. We'll go next.
Let us wrap up, I think.
Yeah. So these are some of the implementations we're talking about. In 4G, mostly non-cosmetic assets, upgradable from time to time. You can lend it to each other, you can sell it to each other. The focus is building long-term assets that both offer gratification when you're playing, and later on good returns if you sell it forward. Cricket, we're talking about NFTs around players and NFTs around in-game assets, including say bats or stadiums themselves. And this is something that will come out in the next 15-20 days now. We're calling it Apna Games. It's a pack of 3 games. It's got Carom, Pool, and Ludo. These are the most widely played games in India. And inside those, mostly there will be cosmetic assets, but there will be some functional assets also, like a prank asset. When you play, maybe a carom board's pocket will move around for a bit. So it's a prank. Of course, it'll come back to where it is supposed to be. So those are some of the implementations we're looking at. We're of course willing to support the new developer community. So if in case you feel like getting in touch with us, we're here for some time, of course, today. But after that, NCoreGlobal.com, you can go apply for maybe a funding related assessment or any other publishing related help. Any questions?
Thank
Please?
you.
The lady will need a mic.
Keeping Indian audience in mind, it would be definitely difficult for them to educate them about the crypto gaming for now, like to
Yeah.
onboard them or something as such. Okay.
Correct.
So
Correct.
there's a way, I'm just trying to explore if there is a way to monetize for a player. Like if I own an asset and if I want to monetize through it, can I do it through ads? Do I get such option as a player as well? Like that's how most of the gaming industry does. Like mint some money if I'm a non-payer.
Yeah.
So is there a way here to do that?
So let's take that example of that stadium. If you played and played and played and you unlocked a stadium, and inside that stadium there's an advertiser who's willing to, because it's a great designed stadium, it's got some great pitches and some great features. It's a great looker also. You can, you can brag about that in social media. So people want to play in that stadium. So you can first of all lend it to other teams to play their matches inside the stadium, or you can place ads inside that. So some kind of implementation of what you're saying is definitely possible. It's a good idea.
Thank you.
All right. Yep.
There are so many L2 options are available. So when you are
Yeah.
designing a game, so how
Yeah.
do you, what are the things you consider? How do you choose a particular blockchain technology, underlying technology?
So I'm primarily a business guy. So I'll think from a P&L perspective, longevity of the investment, gestation, etc., which I'm sure every business guy will think of. So what's the cost of minting on the blockchain? What's the cost of the time cost of the transaction? So if you try to mint an asset on Ethereum, sometimes it takes time because it's just got so many nodes. So you typically choose a layer 2 solution. There you have to think of what's the economics of that solution. So for example, if you have to create and pre-mint assets for everybody in the game, and you've got like 20,000 NFTs, there's a cost to it, right? So you need to think of that cost angle first. Secondly, safety and security. What are the solutions available for that? Okay. How many solutions are fixed cost solutions versus modular solutions where you plug and play and you pay a variable cost, pay as you go? Okay. So there's the business side of things where you consider the cost, and there's probably the opposing side also where you need to consider the technology, ease of use for a user. Okay. Is it very difficult to, for example,
Maybe tools
create
available, developers.
tools available, and on that blockchain, how difficult or easy are those tools to implement? Okay, not all tools will be built for all solutions. Everything, like I said, fragmentation. So that fragmentation, how much is the fragmentation today? When you want to build a game for iOS, right, you build it in a jiffy and it's there because all iOS devices normally updated to the latest OS build. But if you go to Android, it's fragmented, right? So
Only
some of
Q&A.
those things you need to consider.
Right. And if we are not probably for seeing games that have multiple chains being used as well, and that happens along with the evolution of technology as we go forward. Thank you. We're told that the time is up, and we're going to be
Thank you
around,
so much.
so
Thank you.
come and meet up. And if you have any requirement of learning from our journey so far, we'll be happy to do that. Please visit our website of the parent company, NCoreGlobal.com. Thank you again.
Thank you, Dayanidhi. Thank you. Sorry, I just pull you off stage, but we're also running behind schedule. The next